What's today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 11th day. Schedule release day. NFL, who does better? What other sport does people count down and look forward to the release date of the schedule? Look how big the draft is now. I was reading something. I'm out of Nashville, Tennessee. We had 600,000 people in downtown Nashville, Tennessee during the days of the NFL draft back in 2019. All this anticipation there's been some leaks out here for the start date or specific dates and primetime schedules of teams. We've had some of that. No other sport is even close to this. I mean, Major League Baseball, NFL or NBA, soccer. It's amazing. It is amazing what the NFL has really done in order to get this country, and maybe world, I don't know, so addicted to the National Football League. Got a great show on for tonight. Going to touch on the Anthony Davis situation. Looks like he's going to play. We're going to touch on that. Also, a super fan caller died on the Paul Feinbaum show. I mean, I got a take on Phyllis from Moga. She's a lot of you may not know what that is. I will explain it. And then 30 minutes past the hour, one of my favorite guests. I'm starting to put together a pretty good list of guests here. John Bristano, Spitballing Sports. Going to ask him about the Bears draft, the Bills, and of course I'll get his opinion on these NBA playoffs, which are turning out to be really good. Boston's off to a really good start. I got a feeling Boston's going to push this thing to 7 games. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, no mask today. No mask for Jaylen Brown. That thing looked hot. I'm sweating looking at it. I felt bad for Jaylen Brown. I was thinking, man, you got to be burning up in that thing. So kudos. He's taking the mask off. I think they were up like 13-2 last time I checked. We'll go ahead and take our first and only break, and we're going to hit the ground running here on Sports Scope in 49 seconds. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Then I'm back live now. Okay. Now, it looks like that Philadelphia is kind of making this a lot closer now. It's 15-12. Boston's still up by 3. Going to be an interesting game. I'm wondering how that one's going to turn out. You guys have heard my take on the Celtics. They're going to have to get a championship coach, and you got to put it on the table. You got to put it on the table of possibly moving Brown or Tatum this year, depending on which. Thank you, Pickles. Depending on which direction you want to go into. That was yesterday's program. You can find it anywhere. You get your podcasts on Facebook, YouTube. Like I said, a podcast, Spotify, Apple. I had a problem getting my show the other day on Spotify with Rich Ferris, but you could find that one. All of these are on YouTube. So, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, folks. I've only got like 26, 27 subscribers there. That one's hard to get off the ground. Everything else seems to be pumping pretty good. Okay, so last night, TNT, Shaq and Barkley got there's a little bit of criticism there for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, he hurt his head. He hurt his head in the fourth quarter. I thought the Golden State would win. I thought they would shoot them out, and then LA kept that game a lot closer than the Lakers. Than the Lakers originally thought this was going. Than I thought it was going to be. It was close for a while. I did think that Golden State would win this game. Davis is going to be back now, and plus, Stephen A. Smith, he caught a little. He had to do apology for his criticisms of the head injury, and plus Doug Gottlieb of Fox Sports. Now, Doug Gottlieb, Doug Gottlieb played college basketball, and he said, "What did Gottlieb say?" Listen to this comment here. Oh no, but I've got so many. Okay, so Doug Gottlieb of Fox Sports, he says, "Tell me the former NBA player that is now going through some sort of brain injury because of the time they play basketball. It doesn't exist. So that's why guys who are former players kind of make fun of it." Okay, here's the thing. Okay, now, Anthony, for those of you who know Anthony Davis, you follow the Lakers or you follow the NBA, every time this guy gets some kind of fall on the court, some type of injury, he's grabbing his ankle, he's grabbing his wrist. In this case, he's grabbing his head. You got to treat head injuries seriously, but the guy looks like he's been shot. I mean, he is very dramatic. And then he's riding in a wheelchair, rolling this wheelchair around the court here. And you could see Barkley doing that gesture, and Shaq can see over the desk there across that long desk and see that Barkley is mocking Anthony Davis. Some say they were channeling the inner Chris Paul or Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce. And for those of you who don't remember that, I know Pickle says LA Drama Queens. Paul Pierce back in 2008, Corey, if you're out there, right? Paul Pierce was taken off in the middle of the game in a wheelchair. He later said he had to do number 2 in the restroom, and it wasn't that big a deal. He uses the restroom in the wheelchair, not in the wheelchair. He gets wheelchaired to the locker room, uses the restroom, comes back, hits a bunch of threes. It was very Rocky Balboa, very dramatic of Paul Pierce. The Celtics went on to win a championship that year, but Pickles it. So Barkley and Shaq think he's being dramatic, and Pickles says LA Drama Queen. So he's supposed to he's no concussion. He's probable to play. That was updated again just a few minutes ago before I came on to the program. That being said, there's a lot of people picking the Warriors in this series. I still think from the get-go, I thought this was going to be Lakers in 6. I think, and the Warriors, what are they submitting all these? Every call, they're submitting so many calls to the league about how the Lakers are playing them in defense. I'm like, give me a break, man. Come on. Davis is killing you inside. You're just getting beat. You're an older team. You're coming off of a 7-game series. You melted in a lot on the road and during the season. That's why you had such a bad record. That's why you're 6 seed. So now you want to turn it on and you want to play, and now you want to whine to the refs. We understand you're the champions. Got a lot of respect for Steve Kerr as a head coach, and even guys like Draymond Green. Best game of the season for Draymond Green. Shot the ball really well. Just go beat them on the court. I mean, they got away with a lot of crap. They're a team that's caught a lot of breaks. I don't want to take away from anything they've done on the court. I know that Steph Curry is an elite, the best three-point shooter of all time, probably the best overall shooter of all time. But that being said, that does not leave without any criticism. There is some criticism. They do catch a lot of breaks there. And, hey, it is what it is, man. And Steve Kerr, of all people, and he's been around long enough. He knows that the refs let them play more in the playoffs. They don't want to be blowing the whistle on every single play. What's the old adage? Pickles, no autopsy, no foul, right? So it is what it is. Anthony Davis is expected to be available barring a major setback, according to Chris Hayes. So I like Lakers to close these guys out. Hey, look, with a guy like Anthony Davis, you never know. You just never know. But that's just the way I see that particular story coming up. And, again, kudos to the role players for Golden State. No big surprise there on my part. Now, the Knicks. Knicks proved one thing to me last night, that they still love and respect Tom Thibodeau. 48 straight minutes for Jalen Brunson. I'm sure Carlos says, told you the Knicks have to be smaller and attack the basket. Plus Quentin Grimes, 48 minutes also for him. It kills me that Thibodeau refuses to play a Derrick Rose. My guess is, I guess he's just thinking that Derrick Rose does way too much freelancing. Rose does way too much freelancing out there, and he just wanted to, keep him on the bench. Now, Fourier is supposed to have an illness. He's supposed to be dealing with some type of injury as well. So it is what it is. The Knicks are lucky to be here. I expect probably Miami to knock them out. What Rose? Derrick Rose there. Derrick Rose with the Knicks Pickles has not been activated in the playoffs. I mean, you're playing Jalen Brunson for 48 minutes. Now, I activate him because I know he's got a lot of energy. He's still got a good first step. At least keep him in. Give him the Westbrook treatment, guys, that I've been saying for Westbrook. Bring him in towards the end of the second quarter, maybe 5-6 minutes in the third, maybe the top of the fourth. Pull him out and put your regular guns in there. Go back and get your Josh Harts, your Jalen Brunson, and your Randalls of the world. And pick. Carlos says these guys are older than dirt. Yeah, he's in his 30s. He's older than dirt if you're playing him 35 to 48 minutes, Carlos. You can bring a guy like that off the bench for a few minutes. Give Jalen Brunson a breather there. So it is what it is. The Knicks are on house money, but they proved to us last night that they still want to not make Thibs look bad. They still playing hard for him. Carlos says there's simple liabilities. I say no. I say use the whole bench. Now, Carlos, first you was about using the whole bench. Now you're now not using the whole bench. So which side are you on? I guess it depends on which side of the bed that Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez wakes up on. I'll ask you about that tomorrow, Carlos. And of course, we will have be talking about the schedule release also, Carlos. Keep that in mind. Can't wait to see what I know the Jets are going to be playing Buffalo on Monday. I think the Jets play Buffalo opening week. Detroit plays Kansas City on Thursday. Not to get too far off topic. Okay, so that's my take on the Knicks. The East is wide open. I mean, Boston wins tonight. Maybe Boston comes back and wins the series. Maybe Philadelphia goes to the finals. I still think that Miami's reeling, but New York is still trying to figure out how to score on a consistent basis. But anyways, okay. So we'll see what happens tonight. As far as tonight, Denver. I think Denver wins. I originally had them in 7. DeAndre Ayton's not going to play. Jamal Murray's got some kind of, they said illness, non-COVID. It sounds like he's got a sinus infection or maybe his allergies are bothering him. But as far as I know, I think Jamal Murray will play, but DeAndre Ayton will not play for Phoenix. So if Ayton doesn't play, that is a big rim protector for 30 minutes there. I don't know if they're going to use an Alex Len or whatever. But it looks like that maybe that can maybe push. Now Denver's still underdogs. Phoenix is like a 2-point favorite there. Maybe Denver can finish. If I'm that coach of Denver, I say go ahead and finish this thing out. Let Denver, let LA and Golden State battle it out there. Let LA and Golden State battle it out there, and then we'll be rested up here in Denver and let them come up here to this rarefied air a couple of days later and get a 1-0 lead. That's what I'm doing. I'm going all out to win if I'm Denver. So that game will be coming up here in a couple of hours. All righty then. Got some funny. Pickle says I hang them. Yeah, and that's what it is. I think Barkley and Shaq, they're right if you ask me, Pickles. That's a good point. I mean, they just okay, so I can't wait to play this. Okay, Pickles, Carlos, Paul Fonbon, he works with the ESPN, the SEC network. The Paul Fonbon Show is a show based in the South, mainly about SEC football. He was first discovered having a radio show in Alabama. I can't tell you the guy's whole life story. I read a book, great book though. My Conference is Better Than Your Conference by Paul Fonbon. But anyways, it's very serious. They take college football in Alabama very seriously. 16 national championships. Second most ever, other than Yale. Last time Yale won a national championship was 1927. But one of his, the main avenue of this, the main ploy of this show was the callers, the rabid fans, college football fans, drive this program. Okay, from the Paul Fonbon. Paul Fonbon became somewhat nationally famous when Cam Newton-led Auburn team came back 21 down, if you guys remember, in Cam Newton's junior year with Auburn, their magical season, 21 down. They come back, beat Alabama. He's holding his mouth. He's super celebrating. I think this was in Alabama, I want to say. Either way, there was a guy named Harvey Updike, a caller to this show, to this Alabama call-in show, said, I'm going to poison those trees that they celebrate at Auburn where they throw the toilet. It's like a celebration. It's a tradition for Auburn to do so. Harvey Updike, thank you, Pickles. So they do a War Eagle, Roll Tide War Eagle 30 for 30. Paul gets on with ESPN and the SEC network, as the rest is history. One of his more famous callers who I've contacted back and forth over the years on Twitter, Phyllis from Moga. She's an older lady, 70. She passed away today. She had COPD, 74 years old. She was a regular caller, but she would call this show, and when people started talking about her Alabama football team, she'd act like that you were personally talking about her kids, you know. And she came back, and Alabama lost the game a few years ago. This is 7, 8, 9 years ago, something like that. And Colin Cowherd was with that ESPN there maybe 10 years ago. And he's trolling Alabama, saying that the dynasty's over. He's more of a Northwestern, somewhat of elitist, and kind of snarky guy at times. I still listen to the guy, but I don't agree with him on everything. He has a tendency to be snarky, and this lady is from the South. She's very rabid fan. She's like a super fan, like a super fan I had on here from Philadelphia. Very tough fan base. Phyllis from Moga. But listen to this. Colin Cowherd was saying she had heard him talk about it on ESPN, and she's calling to tell Paul Fonbon what she thinks of Colin Cowherd, and she nicknames him Cow Turd. This is hilarious, Pickles. Phyllis from Moga calling in on the Paul Fonbon. Listen up.
Of the day.
Hey, Cow Turd, you are just, I don't even have a name for you anymore, except Cow Turd. How dare you say that about Alabama? They lose the game, and they lost it to a good team. The team beat Alabama. But how can you say, after the dynasty took all these years, all these decades, one game is going to mean that Saban's dynasty is over. You're out of your freaking mind, cow turd. You need to go back to whatever the hell you was doing before you got on the radio. And how dare you call me out? You call me out, you're going to get me back. You hear me, you punk? How dare you? I don't understand the way you act towards it's Bama. That's what it is. It's Bama. You don't hate any team in this nation except for Bama. And you know why? Because they're better than what you've got. Nick Saban is a better man than you are. You could never coach because you don't have a bit of coaching in your body. You have nothing but to sit there and insult and down and just carry on about everybody that's doing something different than you. You're jealous. That's the bottom line. You're jealous. And Bama's coming back. Bama has not lost. The dynasty is not over. Do you hear me, Counter? Bama's dynasty has just begun. Kiss my butt. Roll Tide.
Oh, God. I love Phyllis. I'm so depressed about this, guys. I tell you.
Get ready for it.
I was friends with Phyllis on Twitter a few years ago, and I just got this set up probably back in 21, I want to say, where I could bring people on using StreamYard. John, I see you back there. I want to finish my take, though, on Super Fandom. And a bigger point to be made here is Tuscaloosa, Alabama is not big as nothing. I mean, if you think about it, 16 national championships, and you've got college football. Think about it this way. You've got college football in L.A., you've got USC, right? Colin Cowherd's a big USC guy. Pete Carroll's never been Nick Saban when it comes to college football. But you got L.A., you got teams in L.A., you've got teams in Miami, okay? You've had Notre Dame, who had the national TV deal, exclusive TV deal for years with NBC. You had that, college games everywhere. I mean, you think about Georgia with Atlanta being close by, and little old Alabama. There's no professional team in the entire state. And, you know, and they still have a way to dominate this sport for practically my lifetime. When I was born, a legend was retiring in Bear Bryant. Okay, Gene Stallings, his assistant, a guy that played for him, won a national championship in my lifetime, 1992. Okay, he won a championship in 92, and then you had obviously we got Nick Saban, who's won, I think 6 or 7 national championships. So they've got 16, basically their greatest program of all time. And it is because, and you saw my interview with the super fan there. You saw my interview with the super fan there. Jamie Pags, sorry. And it's people like Phyllis that hold these teams accountable. You know, it's people like Jamie that holds the Eagles accountable. If the owner gets cheap, if they see you in a grocery store, and I'm reading a book about Auburn right now, and there's a story that Al Borges said, that this little old lady was saying, "Thank you, Coach. We appreciate what you're doing. We hope you can, beat Alabama and everything. And if you don't, I'm going to stick this cane up your rear end." And I thought, man, he's probably exaggerating. Then I thought, maybe he's probably not. That was one of those Phyllis from Moga types, But if the people want something bad enough, you'll get it. Now, whether it's too much, it's unhealthy. I get all that. I get those criticisms. But I'll say this, If you get enough people wanting, I wish we would hold our politicians that accountable. I know we got our priorities wrong sometimes with sports, but that is just unbelievable. This woman is serious, Pickles. Yeah, she's, and I'm going to bring Al back on. And Al, if you're watching, I'm sorry to hear about your mother who passed away. Thoughts and prayers with all sincerity, Coach. With that, I'm going to finish his book, Pickles, and I'm definitely going to bring. I know I've noticed he's viewed some of my teases I get because I got John coming up here in a minute, Restano, and I'm definitely going to bring him back. He wrote a book about the 2004 Auburn Tigers that went undefeated, getting a chance to play for the national championship. So, anyways, that's all I have to say. Rest in peace, Phyllis. I'm going to try to, and I've talked to Rich Ferris to get to that SEC Media Days. I'm going to get as many interviews as I can. There's a 3-day event. I'm going to try to make 2 of them. I'll have to take off work for it. But, hey, that's a big deal. That's here in Nashville, and we're going to see what we can do. Hey, John, can you hear me? Let's see. John went off. I saw him on there. Let me see if I can bring him on here. John Restano from Spitballing Sports. Hey, man. Let me see. Well, no, he's went black. I think he stepped away for a minute. He's backstage, but his cameras went off there. He's we'll see. I'm waiting for John to come back. Let's see. And now I done put myself back here. Back to stream. Let's see if Sean, John, whenever you want to come on, my friend, just let me know. I'm ready to bring you on, buddy. I think he stepped out for a second. Now he's went out. Maybe he'll come back in and enter the studio. But anyways, so I just thought that was too funny. And that lady was serious. You ready, John?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you, man. I'm really excited tonight. That's the big schedule. Let me ask you this, man. You're a Bears fan. You live out in Niagara Falls there at Buffalo.
Yeah.
You're also a hockey fan. Have you seen any sport that has such celebration on the schedule release? This is crazy, man.
Yeah. No, I know. There's leaks. I know it is. And I thought hockey was bad because in Toronto, they celebrated like they won something. They just won a 4 out of 7 series.
Okay.
But yeah, they're celebrating this. It's insane. I agree.
I was saying before you got on, now I'm out of Nashville. We just had the draft a few weeks ago. 600,000 people were in Nashville back in 2019 over that 3 days. It was the most of anybody to watch the draft. I mean, this is crazy. Over 200,000 in Kansas City, man.
Yeah.
It's not even a game.
No, I know. And I love it. I will say, I couldn't imagine. You know what, though? I went to an NHL draft here in Buffalo. I did go. But it was, I think it was only – actually, no, I take that back. It was the whole thing. It was rounds 1 through 7. But I was a kid. I can't imagine being in my 50s now going to that. I couldn't – seeing all those people in Kansas City, that was – that looked like an inauguration or something.
I know it's crazy talk, and I had a guy who was there. Jamie Paggs, a super fan from Philadelphia. He's doing videos with Jalen Carter, the 9th pick.
Oh wow!
So he's nuts. Good guy though, super fan. Okay, now let's see where to start. I tell you what, man, the Bears had such a crazy off season. The overs and unders are out. They opened up against the Packers. It's going to be an interesting season there. I want to say they're over and under. I want to say it's like 6.5 wins, according to FanDuel. What are your thoughts on the Bears draft? We'll start there. And on the Darrell Wright, I like that right tackle, man, left tackle.
Yeah, and I think I believe that Jalen Carter pick is a luxury pick. You have to be a good team to draft him.
Yeah.
I think if the Bears would have took him, and I read some things today about Jalen Carter that I won't even repeat because I'm not sure if it's true or not. But I read it
some
online.
stuff too. So he don't have his driver's license was suspended.
Yeah, that and the yeah, and there was other stuff about. I didn't know how much involved he was. I didn't understand. Maybe I didn't know. As far as the people that passed away in the wreckage, what
one of the fathers is suing him now.
Yeah, and what he could have done to maybe make that, I don't know. I mean,
it's a lot, man. If I'm Philly, if I'm management there, I'm holding my breath, even though you kind of got a lot of luxury there. Personnel, that's still the 9th pick, man.
Yeah, if the Bears would have done it, I'd have been a little shit because there's no one there, right? I mean, it's T.J. Edwards maybe is the only real veteran, from the Eagles, and they brought him in. You got Edmonds from Buffalo, but he's still a young guy, right? There'd be no one there. There'd be no one. There's not even a quarterback. You know what I mean? Fields is young. Everyone is. There'd be no one. You got Chase Claypool, who could be a problem. You're not sure about him. And then if you added Carter, and it's funny, I changed on Carter really quick because 2 weeks leading up, I thought, this will be great. Let him drop there. He'll be what I've always wanted. Why am his name always? The Rams. Gosh,
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, because the Bears ended up being one pick. They missed him by one pick. I remember in that draft, and
man,
and they took Fuller, I believe it was
he's decent corner during his time.
Yeah, but anyhow, so I'm kind of glad with
Aaron Donald, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I'm good with I mean, what do I know about Wright? Only what I read. I mean, I did see the game against Alabama though, and to be honest, I wasn't paying attention to what was going on there.
You're watching the quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, right. I wasn't paying attention to the rest of the game. Like, I guess I should when I try to talk about this stuff. But
man,
that's a good pick. I don't know, man. You know what I end up doing, and then I try to reevaluate myself. I look at the positions, and I think, okay, here's who they took. I know what they need, and so I was happy there. The 2 defensive tackles were interesting, right? Back to back, kind of.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, sure did.
And let me say one more thing.
Yeah,
I can tell that they have a new
tackles and see. Yeah, I thought I had it. Your screenshot.
It's like Dexter and Pickens. I think one was Florida guy and South Carolina. I'll say what I like about GM Poles now. He's finally going to the SEC and picking talent. The Bears never had many guys from the Southeast Conference.
Oh, really? They always seem to take the Vanderbilt guys, and that's like the worst team, usually.
I know. They would never have. The Alabama guy that I remember is they got Eddie Jackson, and they got him luckily because he was hurt, and they were able to draft him like the 4th round. But they never took guys from that conference. I mean, a lot of Big Ten guys, which is fine because I watched the Big Ten a little more. Yeah. But God, the SEC is the place to go for talent. I mean, how do you buy? Are you avoiding that? And that's what I felt like,
brother.
Yeah,
I like the so they got that tackle from Florida in the 2nd round, defensive tackle. Then they got a cornerback in the 2nd round from Miami. And they had a lot of draft capital.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if 1 or 2 are just total bust. I mean, geez.
They should, you figure. Then there's who was the other guy I'm thinking of? Oregon, the linebacker. He's going to be a good special teams guy, I bet you. Sewell. His brother plays for Detroit.
Oh, wow. Noah Sewell in the 5th round.
So he should be, I could see that being a special teams guy. He'll play well. He's got that motor just of that whole, God, those guys are always like that. So I'm happy with I'm happy with everything. I'm happy Justin Fields looks like he's maturing, I guess. He goes back to school and finishes his degree. That's a cool thing. And appears to be working hard. So we'll see. I mean,
they said he was the offensive coordinator said he was light years ahead of where he was this time last year. Nowadays, these guys don't really. I'm learning to trust more, not all, but more offensive coordinator when they say stuff like that because I'm a big fantasy player. Well, we need to get so and so the ball more. 25 years ago, that's coach talk. That's nonsense. these last 4 or 5 years, when a coach says something like that, they get the guy on the ball. He'll have like 8 to 10 catches the next week or something like. So I do think that they really do like Fields because there's a lot of options they have. I mean, heck, they had the number 1 pick, you know?
And, you know, I found it interesting, and I don't know why this has happened. Micah Parsons on Twitter, for some reason, was very upset that people about the Fields DJ Moore connection. And he was very angry that people were saying that Fields can't be as good as, the Hurts and AJ Brown connection or the Diggs and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you look at the numbers, and
they could be or could not be.
He said that Fields and DJ Moore could be as good as those guys. There's no reason why they can't be. And you look at Fields' first 2 years and you compare him to those guys, it's almost identical except for the ridiculous rushing numbers that I think was the Bears' fault. If you notice, I watched all of it.
Yeah,
they ran him too much. Came a point where he couldn't go no more. Hamstrings were everything was. They didn't do him any favors there in my mind.
They were using those counter plays and they were Lamar Jackson and this guy.
Can't do it. I don't want to see it. I don't think they didn't even do that at Ohio State. So I don't know why do it here,
Right.
So, but I think, well, we'll see. What a huge year for him, though, right? I mean, everything's on the line.
Yeah, you got to think he's got to be somewhat motivated when you've got that receiving core with Moore there. And then, of course, they got Claypool. He's got Mooney, that offensive line upgrade. And you usually don't get that much upgrade when you have a defensive-minded head coach. They want to go all the other way. They want to put their money and their cap the other way, and they didn't do it. So you would think, if I'm Justin Fields, I got to feel some pressure to get in there and work on my game, my passing game, if they're willing to do that much. It got you a left tackle. I mean, what more can you do? And that is really commending for a Matt Eberflus coach team, because usually we talk about this in your program. I don't like it when the offensive-minded or defensive-minded coach, they take their side of the ball early, like a Minnesota did, taking Addison. You got 31st ranked defense.
Right. Right.
Bears fan, though.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I got to give Ryan Poles a lot of credit. Now, I even forgot, he played for the Bears, offensive lineman. Okay. And he, I'll give him this, man. You're giving Fields everything. So come next year, you're going to have Carolina's number 1 pick, which will probably be high. If Fields fails, you're going to have a high pick. I'm assuming there'll be a quarterback, then he'll select. You know what I mean? Like, it's working out pretty good one way or another. I know how GMs are too. They usually like to draft their own quarterback, right? I mean, they like to have their own guy. So I think they're setting him up to succeed. But if he were to fail, I feel like they have some things that might be able to help them, in the draft next year.
Yeah. I was looking at FanDuel, and they're saying they think that the Bears are going to finish last. According to their odds, it's going to be Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota. They think Minnesota's going to finish third because they didn't do nothing about that defense. What are your thoughts on the Bears? 7.5 wins. They won 3 last year. What is considered a good season for you?
Oh, geez. For me, they're not ready to do. They're not ready to be anything. But a playoff can happen at 8 and 9. I know, and the NFC's a little weak.
Yeah,
I think the Bears could win 8 games this year. I don't think Green Bay's that good. It's yet to be seen. We got to see what Love's going to do. I mean,
that's $64,000 question. I mean, nobody knows, man.
But if I had to bet that, I'd go over. But I don't. Believe me, if they won 6 games, it wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, they are going to be. What I want to see is how are you going to handle Fields? I mean, he can't rush for 1,100 yards again.
Right.
And you can't. It was the Dallas game. I was watching the Dallas game with my co-host Scott. He came over. We're watching the Bears play Dallas, and it was the second half of the Dallas game. Everything changed. He started running all over, and they were doing. And they almost came back and won. And that was the game that he left He thought he was in college, and he went down, and he didn't realize you have to be touched. And he got up and left the ball, and Dallas
he had a
recovered.
great fantasy game that day.
Yeah. So and then that onward, he just was out of control. It was ridiculous, the running.
Mhm.
Everyone got excited, and
That's
it's really
right. He got
cool.
that shoulder injury too, though.
Yes, and they didn't stop even when he had it mid-game. I knew he was hurt. They still, why are you doing it? You're only at, I don't know, man. I realize the coaches and all that, they're playing to win. How many of those? They're not tanking. I can't imagine a football team would tank.
Yeah.
Due to injury. Although the Bears did tank against the Bills. I mean, that game there, you saw business. You actually saw decisions made not to do it, not to hit anybody. So
that's true. And they got off to a pretty good start in that game too. That was on Christmas, right? Wasn't it on Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve.
That was a cold day. That's cold all over the country, man.
Yeah, 10-3.
My power was going out here. It was so cold.
10-3 Bears at half, and and I'm living right in the middle of Buffalo, so it's constant. I'm not a big Bills fan. I never have been, but I'm right here, so I have to pay attention. I have no choice.
Listen to so basically, you're telling me you won't see some development out of Fields and 7 or 8 games. That's a success.
To me, it is. Yes, it would be a great success.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what else would be a nice success? Sweep the Packers. How about beat them twice? Because I remember when Lovie Smith,
brother.
When Lovie Smith came, he said, "You got to beat the Packers to win this division. They're the ones we want. Got to beat."
Right off the bat, you play the Packers.
Beat them for once. I mean, I finally gone.
That'd be nice.
Oh, you're talking about the Bills? Yeah. I'm always nice about the Bills.
Hey, I can't wait to go to the Bills. John. I was looking at some over and unders. Now the Bills are picked second as far as odds to go to the Super Bowl behind Kansas City. They're still rated ahead Cincinnati. What did you think about their draft? We'll start there. I love that Kincaid guy from Utah.
I love that. I like
lineman.
That other pick. Yeah, I like him too. I mean, what a perfect pick. Another luxury pick in my mind. The Bills have. That was a lot. You know what I mean? You get that tight end. They needed somebody, and and there was no wide receiver they liked. So I thought it was a good pick. I mean, some people said some stuff, but I'm thinking right there, that's a good one. I thought their next pick was who I thought they were going to take in the first round, that O'Cyrus Torrence.
Oh, okay.
I actually really thought he was a good pick for them. I mean, he was there, and I saw many mocks where he was in the first. They had the Bills taking him there, so they came around and get him. And then there's a wide receiver named Shorter that they drafted. Okay. I think he's from Florida. But anyways, Justin Shorter's like 6'4", and I've been reading nothing but good things about him, and they could use that for sure.
But Allen, he'll find out if he's good or not. Allen will get him the ball.
Yeah,
what's the sense of they're still favored? I'll tell John and John, they're still favored to win the East.
Right.
My opinion is, I'm letting you know in the audience, if they don't get to the Super Bowl, I mean, you got to ask, is it Sean McDermott? Is he the problem now?
Yeah,
with this running game issue or lack thereof, man.
Well, you figure. I used to think this way back when Jim Kelly was here, and those teams were great. I mean, Hall of Famers all over.
Yeah.
But I always thought they wouldn't just line up the ball and run. Sometimes it was to their detriment, scoring too fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes this Bills team reminds me of that, but they got the guys I mean, Latavius Murray's old, but he can chew up some yards. So there's and they have Cook. I mean, they have they have the makings of a running game enough to, just to help out. I think you got to help the defense a little more, I guess is what I'm saying. They can't be on the field so much. And they haven't really done much with their defense. I know they brought in, Poona Ford, or what's his name from Seattle, the defensive tackle.
Ford?
Yeah, Poona.
I can't remember, man.
Yeah, they just brought him in.
I stand corrected. They're third. They're third in Super Bowl. They're behind. Kansas City's number 1. I don't think Kansas City's going to go back. They got problems at left tackle. Philadelphia is probably not going to get back because history says the loser of the Super Bowl don't get back. Right. And then it's got Buffalo. Buffalo's rated ahead San Francisco and Cincinnati. So you just wonder, now that's FanDuel. Go figure.
But really, what is success for them? I mean, they probably it at least has to be AFC Championship game, right?
Poona Ford.
Poona Ford. That's who they brought in. Good. That's a good one. They need defensive tackles. I think they need help up the middle. That's where they got hurt in the Cincinnati game. And, I just think that it's got to be AFC Championship for them or bust. I mean, you can't go out early anymore because sooner or later, windows start.
AFC. So you're saying one step below the AFC Championship.
I think that's a good one. And then you might want to win because, you've been there. And only saying because there's just so much time you have with players. I mean, you know how that goes. And Stefan Diggs a little. Sometimes to me, I don't know what to expect out of him or where his mind's going to be. And then, Allen is your. There's no team probably in the league that wouldn't want him as their quarterback,
other than Cincinnati or Kansas City.
Right, other than those two, that'd be it probably. Yeah. But
as much as I like Jalen Hurts, I think I would take him over Hurts.
Yeah, and then you're right. I mean, do we go to the offensive coordinator? Who is the problem? Probably it's going to be if someone's going to take the fall, it's got to be McDermott. I would think
he's the next guy to go because you've changed coordinators because your other coordinator, he's the Giants head coach there. So, I was just wondering is that the buzz around town? Do you listen to local sports talk radio? Is that what they're saying, or?
You don't really hear that, John. If you're listening, you can add into this.
Right. John, I'll put it up.
I don't really hear that much. You know what? There's still, I feel, a honeymoon period here. Still,
okay.
After everything, okay. I mean, some of these losses in the playoffs were tough. I mean, after you go and lose by the 13-second thing, and all that, and the year before to Kansas City, now Cincinnati. Earlier on, divisional play, I would think.
John says he's on the hot seat. He thinks.
Okay, John would know. Probably, I know too. You know what? He has to be.
I thought it was just me, brother.
He has to be.
Like the John Elway thing before he got Mike Shanahan in the running.
He has. Yeah, I had said this to Scott one time on the show. I wonder if this isn't the guy. This head coach isn't the head coach that brings him to the Super Bowl. Like, is there another one? Is there something else?
Yeah.
Someone else. I feel like the Bears. I feel like Eberflus isn't the coach that's going to be the coach that makes the Bears win that division. I feel like he's there. There's someone else.
It's because you have an offensive and they always want to go defensive. Then you have defense, you go off instead of just finding the best coach,
McDermott, I mean, he's got some talent, right? I mean, the talent is really their general manager Bean did a great job, right? I mean, the talent around that he's got, and Allen is.
That's true.
I mean, think back at that pick. Geez, what a pick that was! And so my problem is that, and it's funny because he's defense, so he's going to be playing. He's defensive coordinator this year, McDermott. So
because Frazier stepped down, right?
Yeah, I don't know why he left. They never said
or something.
Yeah, so
maybe he's seeing something coming. I don't know.
They got to stop they got to do better on that side of the ball for sure. I think, their division's tough too, right? And it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, now you've got Aaron Rodgers. Are they opening up against the Jets, right?
Yeah, on like Monday Night Football.
Man.
Monday Night Football. September 11th. Monday Night Football.
Well,
that's going to be great.
11th,
That's going to be great. I mean, that's going to be incredible. Rodgers on Monday Night Football in New York.
Man.
So. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah,
and I know
so
the Bills go to
championship. Yeah, that's fair.
The Bills go to England and play Jacksonville, and is that a Bills home game? I don't know. And if it is, I'd be furious. Think about that. If that can't be that can't be though. You know what I mean? Because
Jacksonville goes every year. It seems like.
Yeah, he loves
it,
right?
The raw deal, man. Jacksonville, we'll stick you over there.
The owner wants it too. Yeah, I think the owner really wants to be there. In London. It really feels that if he can, that team might end up there. They're going to be good this year too, right? Jacksonville, they should be.
Yeah, they're highly favored to win the South down here, and they got Calvin Ridley. You got another year with Peterson and Trevor Lawrence together. That offense. They got some offensive line issues there with Cam Robertson. I think he got a suspension or something.
Right.
Other than that, they're pretty good. They're pretty stacked right now, man. Good pass rush. I mean, they don't got a lot of weaknesses. They could have used help at corner, but I have to go back and look at their roster. I just know that Tennessee matches up well against them. They could beat them. Tennessee had a great draft, you know.
Yeah.
But,
yes,
we'll see.
And of course Doug Peterson. I wish he was the Bears head coach right now with Justin Fields.
That's what. Yeah. I wish Sean Payton was the Bears head coach, or not the Bears, but the Bills. Pickle says it is. So John is saying that Frazier basically got fired after last season. Yeah, they like to, if they really like the guy, you know.
Oh, interesting.
He's a likable guy, and the teams like to mix words, part ways, leave of absence. And then John thinks he basically got fired. Well, McDermott's kind of feeling the heat up there in cold Buffalo, essentially.
Yeah, and he should. Yeah, right. He should. It is Super Bowl or bust, I guess. But for me, AFC Championship game, you go in there, you play
farther than you've been with this group, so that makes sense, man.
I mean, because it was the AFC Championship. The 13 seconds was AFC, right? Championship game. And
I thought that was.
Or was that not? Was it
because remember Cincinnati? They played Cincinnati the next week, and then Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
it was a great game though the year before last. I mean, that was excellent quarterback play, both sides.
Yeah, no, that was old school. That reminded me of that. I remember those games back in the '80s when Kosar would face Elway, the Browns, the fumble, and all those games. Man,
I talked to Browns fans. They say that still hurts, man.
Yeah,
almost 30 years later.
Oh, it's got to, because the drive. I mean, my God, that was similar to 13 seconds in a way.
Yeah,
so.
Carlos, stop being a hater. You know the Bills are great. They're fun. Oh. I love and plus, for the record, for FanDuel, Allen is favored to become the MVP. I think he was favored last year too. Hey, let's skip to the playoffs, man. What are your thoughts on this Golden State LA? Was Anthony Davis being too dramatic yesterday?
My goodness. He's back for game 6, right?
Yes.
He's going to be playing.
Charles Barkley, and everybody's laughing at him because he's in the wheelchair. He's very dramatic, man.
Yeah. I just if he wanted to play, he could be one of the best of all time, I believe. He's so athletic, so big.
Super talented, man.
I mean, my goodness. And I don't know. I don't know what to think. Did you have
Golden State originally in that series?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to have the Lakers in 6, but hey, man, they're the champs, and they're very well coached. Golden State, anything can happen.
It's Anthony Davis for me. It's all him. He's got
a lot of pressure on him if you think about it. He don't need to be watching no sports TV or nothing. He don't need to be watching shows like this. He'd be throwing up 4 games.
I wonder that about him. I really do. What a weird guy. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? He's like an enigma. I really don't know. You don't know much about him, really. And he's
quiet, unibrow. That's about it, man.
That's it. And he dominates when he wants to. He's unstoppable in my mind. So he'll kill them. He could win if he decides. If he decides, they could win it all. They really could.
Some people say that Golden State, that they shouldn't have gave them that opening. I think that was overstated. I think the Lakers will win. I think they're going to win at home. They just match up really good. Golden State's they're a little bit on fumes. That Sacramento took a lot out of them, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they got to get rid of Poole, because those guys, they just don't get along. Poole and Draymond Green, that's a problem when they're arguing and they're winning game. They're winning and arguing. So they just.
Colin Cowherd, he's a big Golden State homer, saying that they need to trade Poole and Wiggins for Jaylen Brown and Malcolm Brogdon. And I said, yeah, if you're a Golden State fan.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you where they can trade Poole. They could trade him to Phoenix for Ayton if they want, because now he's out tonight in the biggest game of the year. I mean, he's going to be out.
I think Booker, that may if Murray plays, I think that'll probably put Denver in the finals, man, or in the Western Conference Finals.
Booker's averaging, I was looking at this, 36.8 points per game. Only Elgin Baylor in the 60s and Jerry West have done more. This guy can't. I'll tell you this. He was always in the conversation with Donovan Mitchell, and I never understood it because I always thought he was better than Donovan Mitchell.
Me too.
I think now you throw him in with Tatum. I don't think
Mitchell's ever had 70 points against Boston. Remember that? But Booker, a few years ago?
And that was when they were really bad. And I'm watching. Any other team there any other team than what's happening? Because I don't know what's going on with Durant, right? The other day he had 36, but the other, the night before 21. It's kind of, I don't know.
He may have a nagging injury for all we know at his age, and he's a big guy too.
So now tonight they're going to have. I'm actually looking forward to the Suns game tonight because what they got? What's his name? Oh God, who's going to take his spot? Landell and Biyombo will take the spot of Ayton, in the middle, and you're going to have
Shamet is going to be starting.
He's going to. He played good the one game. Okay. I know he looked good, but they all got a Koji.
Man, you don't mind staying up late. You're up there on the East Coast, brother.
Yeah, I do it.
1 o'clock in the morning watching basketball, huh?
I try. My problem is, Robert, I can't sleep anymore. I don't know what happened. I hear you,
brother. I hear
3 hours sleep and I'm out the door at 6 a.m. So we're good. But someday it'll catch up. But I really like the Suns team.
Yeah.
And Jokic is weird to me. He's so big. He doesn't even look like he jumps, but he's just unstoppable. And
those long arms, and he's quicker than he looks, man.
Yeah, lot quicker. And in my dream scenario, I guess if I had picked the Suns to go to the finals, but if they don't, if it's Denver against Philadelphia, Embiid against Jokic would be probably pretty good.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah,
I think
Mark Jackson said he made a mistake not voting for Jokic, at least as part of one of his top 4. That was in the news today. Anything can happen. Denver, Murray could go down. I think it's going to be Denver. I don't feel like there's a clear-cut favorite this year, man.
No. Right now, before I came on, the Celtics were beating Philadelphia pretty good. Last I saw.
That one's been up and down. I'm going to check on that while we're here on the program. I'm curious. You got me. Okay. It says 21-17. Now it's 50-43. Yes, Celtics by 7.
By 7.
Transition. I think they're win or lose. I think this guy's too young to be coaching the Celtics. He's not ready. He's 30. Joe Mazzulla. He's not ready. Go out and get a guy like a Nick Nurse, for example. He's way over his head. And you put it on the table between Tatum and Brown. I would look at maybe moving one of them.
Right.
I said something crazy yesterday. Maybe move Tatum for Luka, and you'll have to give some more. I understand that, but Luka's not doing anything with Dallas. It's not working right now. What do you think about Mazzulla? Do you think maybe they should do something about that coach there?
Yeah, I watched him today. It's funny you brought him up. I watched because they did some. They made some lineup changes. They put in Williams tonight and Horford, and all that. And you can see. You might have hit that right. He's a little young. He might not be ready.
34. Horford's older than he is.
Yeah, and the other guy that they had to get rid of. I'm wondering when he comes back. Their old coach, the Celtics, and I would think so. I don't know. They're going to win. They might win tonight, though. And if they win tonight, I think Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia's the better team, but I'm not seeing it so far tonight. But I don't know. I like Philadelphia better this year. I really am happy for Embiid, I guess, is what it is. Because I told you this before. I feel like he fumbles at the wrong time. He messes up like in the last second.
He's
never
a
really
likable guy, and he seems like he's really all in to win. He was a liability the other day, though. Boston just flat out blew that game on Sunday. God, how frustrating can you be, man?
I saw your tweet. Yeah.
That's just take a 2 when you need to take a 3, and why you wait until the very last second? Geese, give yourself 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that last possession?
Yeah, everything you said. It was frustrating. You know what's funny? I'm a Knicks fan, so in my mind, I'm programmed to dislike Boston.
Right.
Everything. I don't think I like Boston in anything, so I guess I kind of was glad they, whatever. But you're right. Everything you said was right. I saw your tweet. I laughed. I saw it. I might have liked it. I'm like, they just blew it.
That's coach. And then you have Marcus Smart take it, of all people.
Marcus Smart, and I like Marcus Smart.
But geez, you can't have it. what was that? 18 seconds, and you take that shot.
I know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
you know, but
I
we'll see
agree.
what happens. And you're right, at Philadelphia, maybe that'll save Doc Rivers' job if they win. You know,
geez, he's been there a long time.
yeah,
Real long time, Doc. But I just Harden sometimes, he's another one. Harden gives me the same feeling a little bit, but it's better than Anthony Davis. But sometimes I get that weird feeling sometimes where I don't know. 45 one game, 20 the next. I mean, you don't know what Harden you're going to get. So,
well, will the real James Harden please stand up, 33-year-old? What's your thoughts on the Knicks, man? I think that they're playing on house money. You know, Jalen Brunson. Why won't they play Derrick Rose just a little bit?
I don't get that either. I don't even know the answer. I don't know.
Is he that ball-centric? I mean, geez, man.
They are giving everything they got, obviously. I mean, the way they play, they won at the Garden, so that was great. I mean, every Knicks fan, I think,
win there, saying we're playing for the coach,
Yeah, the Knicks should be Knicks fans should be happy. But my thing as a Knicks fan, what I don't know is what's the next step.
Yeah,
I don't know what the next step for this team is because they seem to not be able to bring free agents in. I don't know what they can do there. I don't know if it's a Dolan thing that they don't want to play for him or they don't want to come. But think about it. What do they do next? Because Julius Randle, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Julius Randle. My problem with him is
a lot of bad shots in the playoffs.
Oh my God! And as the game gets more intense, the better chance it is for him to turn the ball over. It's something about him. I think he would be
plays
great.
Like an injured Embiid when things get like that.
You know where he needs to be. You know where I think he should be. Would be perfect if he went to Phoenix or something where he could be. I don't want him as the guy. I guess
he's like a 3. He's not a 2 or a 1. He's definitely not a 1.
No. So what do they do?
Brunson, though, maybe y'all can attract more free agents. Brunson's dad works there. Maybe they can do some selling. They got a lot of draft capital, man.
You know, that owner is such a detriment to the team. That whole thing with Oakley and everything he did and all that.
That's still hanging around, even though they have found some moderate success.
Sometimes I feel that way because I don't understand why that place can't bring in better and bigger free agents somehow, some way. I mean, God, I mean, we're talking about Luka. You talk about Luka, right, for example. But you're never going to mention the Knicks with his name. You know what I mean? You just don't even bring up the big names with that team anymore.
Because Mark Cuban, he's felt like he really screwed it up with Brunson. There's no way they would get Luka to the Knicks, too. He'll never let it down.
I know. And you know who's good? And he's another streaky guy, but I like him as RJ Barrett. I think he goes to the basket hard, plays defense. I mean, they're a likable team, which is great because for a long while watching them was very difficult to watch. And I don't know if Miami, whoever wins is going to get buried, right? I mean, I can't see Miami beating Philadelphia or Boston.
That's true. That's true, man. That's true. I'm like you. I'd love to see the Knicks there just for sentimental purposes. I like the Knicks too. I followed them for a long time, man. Since the 90s. I mean, heck, I lived in New York City for a year, and the fans were talking back in 2002 like they were going to the finals. I'm like, dude, you're not getting past Boston or the Nets. This was 20 years ago. Yeah. So they're really optimistic up there, So we'll see how it plays out. They're in really good shape. Coaching wise, maybe bring in an assistant. They seem to lack offensive scheme a little bit there, and they need another scorer. I mean, these guys are building a house in Miami the other day, all them bricks.
I know. You're right. No, you're right.
Hard to watch their game sometimes, man.
Mm-hmm. And when Randall's good, I mean, I saw him score 45, in the regular season. I've seen him be where it's like, oh my God, it's Bernard King all over again. But that lasts for maybe.
Hey, that's I never thought about that. Yeah,
but Bernard King was great. Bernard King
more consistent. Yeah,
he had no one on his team. Those teams were bad. Those 480s, those early 80s Knicks were really, really bad. And but I don't know. I'm happy with them because they're likable, they're watchable. Now I hope they make the next step because it's been a long time. What, 1972? They haven't won a title.
Yeah, Phil Jackson.
Yeah. In 94
years.
Yeah. 94, they were in the title. I think the last time.
99 in the half season there. as an 8 seed, right? I was talking about that with Jeffrey Defskin. He's a big Knicks fan. He's a New York guy. So, hey, man, thanks for coming on the program, brother. I can't wait to Pickle says the Ernie and Bernie show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Volunteers.
Right. That's way back when. Ernie DiGregorio. Yeah, that's back. Yeah.
He's got some miles on him. Now, your show, Spitball and Sports, is it 6 p.m. Eastern, right? Every Friday?
Every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. This week, and then, of course, I get it out on YouTube about an hour later, then to Twitter. So if anyone wants to watch this week, me and Scott will be going over the NFL schedule, the biggest games, all that stuff. Yeah. And, we'll talk about, I am going to talk a little hockey. If you do guys, anyone out there watching hockey, I'll be talking it. But please come see it. You might like it. I don't know. I have Robert on a lot. I got to get him
on YouTube, and I commend you for your pre-marketing. I got to get better at that. Now, I appreciate you. Pre-marketing and stuff before the show comes on. John's really good at that, man.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I've said her name before, but a secret weapon is my wife, Robin, because she is somebody that when we do a show, she will share that show to every single fan.
Appreciate that.
Any single fan page she can find. If we're talking basketball, it's going to everyone. So it's great.
She's like Robin for Howard Stern. You're Howard, she's Robin, except y'all are married, right?
Yeah. The other thing is, too, if you check out my show, she knows sports. So a lot of times she'll be chiming in on what she thinks and knows. So, but thank you for having me.
Hey, brother, I'll have you back, man. Especially if something big comes up, man. You really know, and it's not just about the Bears and Bills. You know the NBA really well. So I may bring you back on, after this
man, you want to talk baseball, you want to talk football, and God forbid you want to talk hockey, because then I
got to learn hockey first. We had a decent team here a few years ago in Nashville, but man, I don't even know all the rules, brother.
Oh man, I could help you. It'd be easy. You'll love it. It's violent. It gets a little violent,
Yeah.
Smashville.
Right. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody.
Take care,
man. I got to watch these games. Hey, everybody, I'll be back tomorrow with Carlos, Mad New Yorker Chavez. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern. Carlos, if you're there, buddy, we're going to watch a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit these schedules here. Pickle says the Titans will be playing the Saints. Yeah, I saw that earlier, Pickles. Titans will be playing the Saints week 1. That'll be a really good game. I want to get into some of that and talk about some of the New York teams as well. Favorite games to watch. I cannot wait. We'll touch on the playoffs tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. And again, please share the show. Go to SportsScope and subscribe to that YouTube page. Got to get them numbers up, everybody. Thanks again.